believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning big, you might as well go on the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, welcome back to another Officer Tatum show. People say that they love this shirt. If you know what this shirt means, you know what this shirt represents. Go get you one and write the reference when you buy the shirt and the thing. And I might do something special for you. I didn't even know what this shirt was at first. And then I was like, why are these people walking across the street? Some of y'all know what this is. So, you know, your brother from another mother wasn't privy to it. Anyway, let's get to the news real quick. The craziest thing that I've seen this week is them raising $150,000+ for a young man who killed another young man. The person who did the killing, people are feeling sorry for him and raising money for him. Let me show you very clearly why I think this is a problem and why this is a racial issue. If you don't know what I'm talking about the incident that happened at the track meet. Karmelo Anthony, with a K, decided that he was going to stab a kid in a conflict under a tent. There's a few things that we need to talk about here. One, I can legally almost represent this case and show you that Karmelo Anthony will be found guilty. It has nothing to do with his skin color as far as I'm concerned, because I do not care. I'm black and I got my family white. So I got black and white sides. I don't give a flying flip. What I care about is justice. What I care about what's right. What I care about is the law. And for them to raise $150,000 for this kid is insane to me. And what it speaks to, in my opinion, is the racism that's involved in this. Because if that young black boy would have killed another black boy at a track meet, we wouldn't hear about it. There would be no GoFundMe. There would be no, oh, we need to stand with him. It's because he killed a white kid. And it's a race war underneath the surface of our country, mostly projected by black people against white folks. So when a black kid do something wrong, black people rally around the kid that did something wrong because they don't want the white boy to be right. They don't want white people to be right. They don't want white people to be on television saying that this black kid is a thug. They don't care that the black kid, I think that some of them do care, but I think that they're avoiding the point that the black kid actually took the life of somebody unnecessarily. Let me give you a couple factors here, which will bolster the legal argument that I have. I do believe that Karmelo Anthony will be found guilty if he goes to court. I think he's going to do a plea deal because he knows he's dead to rights. His attorneys know he's dead to rights. According to Texas State Penal Code, he will go to jail and be sentenced probably more harshly than he would if he do a plea deal. I think he's going to do a plea deal, and I think in the plea deal, they're going to give him manslaughter charges, and he's only going to do 5 or 8 years in prison, which is a travesty. If he goes to trial, this is how he loses, unequivocally. In the state of Texas, they charged him with first-degree murder. First-degree murder is when you murder somebody intentionally or knowingly causing the death of another person. That's subsection 1. Subsection 2 is intending to cause serious bodily injury and commit an act clearly dangerous to human life that results in somebody's death. They got him on the first statute because he knowingly and intentionally decided to poke the boy in the heart with a knife. The second statutory claim here, which they can get him on as well, is intending to cause serious bodily injury. If you didn't intend to kill the guy, but you should know that stabbing somebody in the heart could cause serious damage, serious bodily injury to that person, and is clearly negligent and is dangerous to human life. They got him again. Here's another one. Commit or attempt to commit a felony other than manslaughter during which they perform an act clearly dangerous to human life that causes death. Let me add to how that's a problem. Because carrying a weapon on a school campus is a felony offense. No, it's a misdemeanor offense. Let's go down to the law, because I want y'all to see this very clearly. If you go down to Texas law, it says that it's a knife blade exception, right? If it's 55 inches or shorter, generally speaking, it could be used or be in a public place. However, there is restrictions as to where this can be presented. It says right here, let me go up a little bit. I'll go down here. It says violating these restrictions can lead to criminal charges with penalties varying based on specific circumstances and locations. For instance, carrying a local restricted knife is prohibited in areas generally considered a Class C misdemeanor. And these areas are obviously in sporting events, right? It says carrying a knife regardless of blade length. Here's the caveat here. Carrying a knife, any knife, regardless of blade length, at a school sporting function in Texas is generally prohibited unless you have an explicit authorization to do so. So not only was he already committing a crime by having a knife at a school sporting event, he knowingly and intentionally struck the kid. Whether he tried to kill him or not is still under the grounds of first degree murder, or they can clarify for second degree murder. So it's either one of the two that they're going to have him under. But here's where the defense is going to argue. The defense is going to argue that he was acting in self-defense. Now, here is where the self-defense claim falls apart. In the state of Texas, and probably most places, that your self-defense claim is completely eliminated if you are provoking somebody, right? You can't claim self-defense after provocation. So that means that if I'm going somewhere and I'm like, what's up, bro? Come on, fight. I'll fight all of y'all. I then went up to somebody, provoking them to a physical altercation. They beat me up, and then I pull a gun and shoot them. Well, you can't call for self-defense if you provoke somebody to engage with you. And his own admission of saying, touch me and see what happens. Going under somebody's tent that don't belong to you, that you're not associated with, refusing to leave, and then threatening and saying, touch me. That means that you cannot lawfully remove me because I'm going to do something to you. So touch me and see what happens. It's a provocation for them to engage with him, and therefore he then presents a knife and stabs him. So I'll just read here in the statute where it says, or at least the articulation of section 9.31, it says a person is justified in using force against another person when they reasonably believe that it is eminently necessary to protect themselves from others using attempted use of unlawful force. However, this justification does not apply if a person provokes the use of unlawful force, was engaging in criminal activity other than a Class C misdemeanor that is a violation of the law or ordinance regulating traffic, which is the regulating traffic part is not applicable. It's consented to exact force used or attempted by the other, which don't apply here. It's the provocation section, provoking the use of unlawful force. Let me sum it up for you. The prosecution is going to argue that he had no business being in the tent. He had no business carrying a knife to a track meet. Once he was asked to leave the tent, he refused to leave the tent. And then he threatened people at the tent that if they try to remove him from the tent, see what happens. And once they pushed him out of the tent or grabbed his bag and shoved him, which is not a use of deadly force, he then turned and produced a weapon and used deadly force against the kid. There is no articulation that he feared for his life, serious bodily injury or death, right? Which is why you would use deadly force. So he had no justification to use deadly force. And he has no defense of self-defense because he provoked the incident. He's going to go to prison, rightfully so. And also there's pictures of him on social media with a gun. It looked like a fake gun, but with a gun and throwing up the middle finger and doing all this stuff. I mean, y'all can act like it's not a behavioral issue with this kid, or you can do whatever you want to do, but he's going to go to jail. And let me just add this. I want to play a clip of the father, because this is another part of this incident that I think is a tragedy. Because white people, y'all need to stop doing this. You're not going to get the sympathy of black people. A lot of black people hate you to the core, and they don't care what you say. They hate you and want you to be destroyed, and they hate most white people. So you getting on here trying to play the unity train is not going to work. And I understand why Dad did this, because he don't want the trauma on his heart of making his son's death a bigger issue than it should be. But he's wrong in the sense of trying to act like this is not a racial thing. Roll the clip.
It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. I have compassion for every human being. This is not, I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this. I don't appreciate some of the remarks I've seen online that people say there was this fight and they don't know, they weren't there.
All right. I respected that he lost his son. I get it. His mind is cloudy right now. But the mother and son disagreed. But let me tell you my side before I play them. Is 100% a race thing. I said this at the beginning of the show. If there was two black kids, nobody would be talking about it. There would be no GoFundMe. If it was the roles reversed and the white kid stabbed the black kid, it'd be hell. And in this situation, black people are coming out defending the black kid because of the sake of him being black versus a white person, because they cannot justify what he did. Roll the clip.
I heard your husband say within hours of this that he forgave this other young man, and he got there so quickly. And I honestly don't know that I could. And I just want to see, and I don't know if there's a right or a wrong place to be, especially as quickly as this has happened. Megan, how do you feel on that front today?
I am not like their dad. I am so angry at that boy. It's just not fair. That's all I have.
I understand.
I'd like to say it's forgave, not forgotten, but I'm not at that point yet to forgive that kid for what he did to my brother. Because, 17 years, my best friend, just there in the blink of an eye, I lost him. So I'm not at that point.
So they pretty much said they're not at that point of forgiveness. God has called us to forgive. It's a struggle, though. Somebody were to do something to my family, I don't know if I can say I forgive them. I don't know if in my heart I can forgive them. It took me years to forgive myself for things I've done. So forgiving somebody else will be very difficult. But I do think this is a race thing, and I think people need to stop trying to play nice guy and call it for what it is. I don't think it is helpful when white people try to be like, oh, we don't want to, they want problems with you though. They won't smoke with you. They raised $200,000 or something for this boy that killed the white kid. And by all measures, he was wrong. All you have to do is look up the law. He's wrong. You're under somebody's tent, which you shouldn't have been, right? They could have compassion and let you sit under their tent when it's raining. They could. They don't have to. They ask you to leave. You refuse to leave. Then you say, touch me and see what happened to you. Therefore, he's planning to use deadly force against kids under the tent where it's raining at. And I guess they pushed him out of the tent, grabbed his backpack or something, and then he stabbed somebody in the heart. Anybody, unless you're looking for money and fame and you're a racist, wouldn't jump on the bandwagon and saying, I'm going to put money for a kid that killed another kid. Unless you're saying he's guilty, but I want to help his family because people make mistakes. If you're saying that, I disagree with it. I won't do it, but I see why a person would. But if you're not pushing any of those messages, you're just acting off of racial tribalism. Same thing happened at that Mississippi brawl or Montgomery brawl. You're gonna know how black people really feel about you when some racial happened. When the Montgomery brawl happened, you see black people wearing shirts with, that man hit that woman with a chair. And she wasn't even an aggressive person. She was walking on and hit her with a chair. If white people were out here hitting black women with chairs, it wouldn't be funny. But when black people do it, it's funny. To them, it became tribal. Oh, look at all these white folks, man. Look at white folks think, look, my boy was swimming and doing all this. When there's this incident at the track meet, check in on your friends that you think your real friends. And they're going to start getting tribal. Oh, but the black kid was self-defense. What was it? Would you be claiming the same argument if the kid was white that stabbed a black kid under a tent he didn't belong under? We know the answer to that. But before we go to the next topic, I want to play Charleston White's clip. Because Charleston White, although he's, he be tripping sometimes. He be saying all kind of crazy stuff. I think sometimes he's not afraid of calling out the truth in the black community. And he grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, just like I did. Charleston and I probably have a very similar upbringing and experience when it comes to some of this crazy stuff that people of the melanin do. So I'm not saying I agree with everything Charleston say, but sometimes he hit the nail on the head because you can't find a black person in many cases that have any kind of social media following to tell the truth because they get painted as anti-black and they hate black folks. When in reality, it's like we just need to point this stuff out because everybody's the emperor with no clothes. Everybody trying to act like this is not happening. It's insane. Roll the clip.
No wonder God can't bless black people, because black people got a heart of retribution and vengeance and violence and anger. They want to get back at white people. No wonder Dr. King them could get some things and we can't. Because Dr. King them said, hey man, don't hit them back. Hey man, don't hit them back. And them people got way more. Now this group say, let's kill them. Let's kill them. But your kids, you hear about kids every day in the hood schools getting bullied, but y'all don't have this much outrage for bullying. They have a no bullying month, but y'all don't have this much out. But now all of a sudden it's out, let's kill the bully. Most of y'all are bullies. Talk to them today. Most of y'all are, come on, cuz, OG, bullies. Come on, Crip, blood bullies. But now we want to kill the bully. When most of black children go to school every day and have to face a bully, why you think they got to wear Michael Jordan tennis shoes? But now we got a problem with bullies, huh? When have we ever told our kids to go kill the bully? We taught our kids how to stand up to the bully. No matter if it was two of them, fight both of them. But you don't put your life in danger to kill. Unless you got killing in you, but if you listen to kill music, you got killing in you. There's no way good kids kill. I know a nigga stabbed a girl 93 times, but before he got to 93, he dropped the knife. She begged and she pleaded. He dropped the knife. But because he was abused and he had anger and he had rage inside of him for what his daddy was doing to him, he finished up. What's in you gonna come out of you. And good kids don't stab people to death, y'all. This is a kid with some trauma. Let's get the background story first. Just because he out there in Frisco. Oh, black people, y'all wrong. And no wonder God got you cursed. I'm starting to think that curse on us is real, that the Hebrews say. This group hard.
There's a little bit more. I'm going to let him finish, but let me parse through this. I do wonder, to a certain degree, why our young people are doing this more than anybody else. When I say our, the young black boys. I said this on my video last time I talked about this. His parents, what trauma are you putting? If he live in Frisco, I don't know if y'all know what Frisco is. Now, when black people move somewhere, and I hate that this is the reality, but it happens. When a massive amount of black people move in places become violent. it becomes, ghetto. It just happens. Why do you say that, Brandon? We grew up, when I was living with my dad, we grew up in Crowley. We went to North Crowley High School in Fort Worth, Texas. North Crowley High School, it was like, I think you would consider that middle class people. The school was brand new, 4 years old, majority white, and most of the black people that lived there were middle class, right around middle class. It was safe. White people outside walking their dogs. We could drive around, go to the park. All the kids play together. It was safe. It was a great environment to grow up in. And they brought the projects and moved it right across the tracks over there on McCart. I think it's called McCart. And all of a sudden, the community began to go downhill. Now they breaking in people's cars. The football team good. I think they won a state championship. Basketball team good. The sports teams go up. Crime, all that stuff go down. The school system is not what it was when I went to North Crowley. I guarantee you that school is low performing now, when it was a high performing school when I went there. It's unfortunate. Frisco, Texas. We lived in Plano. Well, my mom lived in Plano, Frisco when I first went to college. She was married and she lived there. And none but white people. Very high-end area. Frisco, Texas was upper middle class. You $1 million homes, all that stuff in Frisco, Plano, brand new. And now they move these people in there. And now stuff get a little weird. Let me say this. This young kid is troubled enough that he lives in Frisco, Texas, and is bringing a knife to school. I want you to think about your city and think about the most prestigious city in your community, which in your metro area. And then think about a kid with a knife at that school and doing stuff like that. You say, well, how did it get to that point where kids are bringing knives to school? When in Frisco, Texas, and Plano was like upper echelon. And now you got kids bringing knives to schools and practice and all kind of other stuff. It's a problem. The music we listen to is a problem. And if you don't believe it's a problem, you're deranged, because it's brainwashing. I was a very angry young man when I was younger. I would blow up on people all the time. Why? Because I'm introducing violence into my mind every day subconsciously. I can still to this day rehearse some of the most violent rap music that I've ever heard to this day. I hadn't listened to it in decades. I could rehearse it verbatim, word for word. You're conditioning your subconscious to be violent, and it comes out of you. Finish the clip.
It's tasteful. No compassion. I remember telling my brother one time, God will never let you out of jail if you ain't got no remorse for the people you killed. No remorse for the man's family. No remorse for the man's boy's father, mother, brother. But y'all got so much for Lil Ronnie, and Lil Ronnie brought death on. Look, come on now. Lil Ronnie brought death on himself, and y'all had all the compassion. But here it is, a white kid, two little boys having some boy issues. And one little boy killed another little boy. You mean to tell me you black people ain't got no compassion for neither side? That's why you curse, black folks. That's why your situation, God is looking at y'all hearts. That's why your finances can't be increased. That's why your children won't go to the NFL. God is looking at y'all hearts. Black people, y'all ought to be ashamed. That's why your children are dying and being murdered the way they're being murdered. They've been your grandchildren. Man, you curse.
Now let me speak to that issue. Do I think black people are cursed? Maybe not to the extent that Charleston is saying, but I do think it's a problem, man. I honestly feel like black people have the deepest connection to spirituality out of any group. And when you have a deep connection to spirituality, you're worshiping, the church is good, religious, you get judged harsher. And when y'all out here playing with God, I feel like that's why things don't go well. Let me just mention this, and then we're gonna move to the next story. There's a spirit out here. Spirits are real. The devil is real. As long as unanimously, maybe not fully unanimously, but as long as black people are still holding a grudge over white people, God is not going to bless black people generally, or those who feel this way, to the fullest of their capacity. If you still holding on to unforgiveness and revenge against black people, God can't bless you like he could if you would be forgiven or have a forgiving spirit. Why do you say that, Brandon? Because that's one of the things that God had told us to do, is forgive other people or you won't be forgiven. And we running around generation after generation after generation being taught to hate and feel this resentment against white people about what happened in slavery and in Jim Crow, where no living white person was a part of, and we wasn't, you know what I mean? We wasn't a part of it either. Nobody we know, most of us, nobody we know had anything to do with any of that. And if you keep doing it, God can't bless you. All right, let's move on. So I guess these nut jobs went around the country doing protests. I want to put this in perspective real quick. Put the clip up. I want to put this in perspective. They lost the election. We got the popular vote. We won all the swing states. And Donald Trump is doing what he ran that he would do. What he ran on doing. He's doing it. So for all you cowards out there that's lying and saying people are regretting, people that voted for Trump are regretting their decision, you are lying, sack of crap. Delusional liar. Donald Trump said he was going to do this. So if you voted for Trump and you're disappointed, you the idiot. Because you're disappointed because you voted for him to do what he's doing. The tariffs, he said he was going to do this. He was going to balance the playing field so we quit getting ripped off. He was going to balance the budget. He said he was going to do it. We voted for him to do it. He's doing it, and I'm supportive of it. But these people are mad because Donald Trump is trying to build the country and help the country be sustainable. Like Elon Musk says, solvent. And they mad at Elon Musk. They want to burn him down. They call him Hitler because he's holding the government accountable to what they're doing with our money. And this is why they're protesting around the country over what I just said. Roll the clip.
We are in a fight. We are in a fight for our democracy. We are currently living through a president who wants to be a dictator.
The authoritarians, they're never satisfied with the power that they have. They push the limits. They break the law. If we are quiet, if elected officials are quiet, then we are complicit. And we cannot be complicit.
So we say to Donald Trump and Elon Musk, hands off science, hands off the Bill of Rights, hands off Greenland, hands off Canada, hands off Panama, hands off the courts.
Hands off Panama, the Panama Canal. Why would we be hands off of Panama? Hands off of Greenland. Why would we be hands off of Greenland? Because you hate America? You have no justification to say that we should not be hands-on and acting in the best interest of what's good for America. Next clip, roll it. Look at these people. What is this?
She really stand on business. She said, "Fuck Trump."
Oh, white people. What are y'all doing? What?
Here's a live look at Boston, Massachusetts now as we check back in on one of our top stories, anti-Trump protests taking place across the country today.
Put this in your mind. All of these people are protesting because Donald Trump is implementing tariffs to negotiate fair trade with America and our foreign, some of them are adversaries, to be honest. Our foreign trading partners. Just came out, the United Nations, or it was United Nations, or European Union or something, just came out and made mention that they're willing to negotiate zero tariff, a 0 for 0, which is free trade. Like, do you think he don't know what he doing? That's the question I ask when I'm on college campus to these people. Like, if Donald Trump, which he said he was going to implement tariffs, he's done it before. Do you think Jeff Bezos would support Donald Trump? If he had no idea what he's doing, he's going to ruin the country? Do you think Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, would support Donald Trump, knowing that he's going to destroy the economy and screw everybody's business over, knowing that he don't know what he's doing? No, these people are smarter than many of these people out here. They know what he's doing. They know what he's capable of. They understand tariffs. They understand that the people are going to have to endure for a little bit while we negotiate, while we get us as a country to a good place. Clip 3, roll it.
So what makes Trump a fascist? What makes Trump a fascist?
He does things without
You gotta talk loud. I don't have my mic on.
I'm not really good into interviews. Stuff like that.
Sorry?
He just doesn't. He just does everything he wants, and not following laws or he's a convicted felon. That's all I know.
But your sign says he's a fascist, and I'm just curious what makes him a fascist.
Is that he's trying to control the media, right?
Say that again?
He's trying to control the narrative.
How is he trying to control the media? Doesn't every president try to control the narrative?
They try to control their own narrative, but one of the things that Trump's has done, for example, is the renaming the Gulf of Mexico, and then not allowing the Associated Press to come into the White House. Basically, trying to get.
What are your feelings about him renaming the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America when a majority of the Gulf is in fact on the coast of America as opposed to Mexico?
I mean, it's kind of pointless. People.
Is it pointless?
Yeah, people call it the Gulf of Mexico. What's the
Don't
point
you think it could have a
name?
positive tourism impact potentially?
Tourism has been down heavily.
So I don't want to get into a tourism debate. My question is, the sign says the fascist Trump regime must go.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious what makes him a fascist. You pointed out that maybe something about his relationship with the media, he wants to control it, but how? Again, you're calling him a fascist.
Yeah, well,
what makes him a fascist?
One of the core tenets of fascism is creating an enemy, right, and blaming those problems on the enemy.
What's that?
Oh, yeah, so the paper gave me,
Who gave you that?
The people that gave me the sign. It's a free sign.
Oh, someone gave you the sign, and then they gave you the handout. So are you reading it now to try to answer the question?
Yeah, but I mean...
Can I see that? Can you hold that up?
I'm
just curious.
You can have it.
I can have it?
Yeah, you can have it.
Alrighty. So where did you get the sign?
All the way in the gatekeeper's house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I see this stuff around the country on campuses. They don't have a real argument against Trump. They don't even know what fascism is. They don't have a historical context of fascism. So they don't know if Trump is a fascist or not. They're just told to hate him, 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 to hate him. And they say the talking points they hear on television, and that's what they go off of. And then some of them are nutty enough to uproot their whole lives and ruin friendships over something that's not even real. That's the thing that perplexes me the most when I go on campuses. I'm like, you guys are mad and it's not real. Like when I was at UC Davis, one of the arguments they say me and Charlie Kirk hates trans people. Like, if we actually hated trans people, then yeah, you should be upset. But do you realize that you're upset and Charlie and I don't hate trans people? I told him when I was there, I got a crowd. It was getting bigger and bigger because people actually heard me talk. And most people agree, even the leftists. I said, I love trans people like I would love anybody else. I don't care if you trans. That's on you. Why do I care that you want to be trans or you got something going on? I love you. I'll pray for you. I'll protect you. What you got going on in your personal life is you. And if you doing your thing and you in your lane, man, you ain't me and you'll never cross paths. And if we do, we'll never have a problem. I respect you as a person. Do what you want to do. But when you bludgeoning women in sports and you're, taking advantage of young kids and doing this stuff, that's different. I don't support anybody that do that. And then they're looking at me shocked. I said, look, let's be reasonable. You believe that your identity is this. Some people decide to believe in biology. So you have your own set of rules. People have their own set of rules. How about we just agree to disagree? You will have a better life if, as a trans person, you say, you know what? Some people don't see it the way I see it. Some people may not agree with my lifestyle, and that's okay. As a trans person, your life will change. But the truth is, they don't even agree with their own lifestyle. That's why they project it on other people. They don't really feel like they're trans. They don't really feel like they're a woman, even though they're trying to put a wig on. They know that something ain't right. So they project their insecurities and frustration on other people, which comes out as violence. All right, we got one more of a woman realizing that the Democrats are literally devil worshipers. And this is like another instance at this event. And how Christians are backing Democrats are crazy to me. Roll the clip.
After today, I get it now. I understand why everyone is being called to leave the Democratic Party right now. I don't know if it was always this way. I don't feel like it was always this way, but this party has been infiltrated by the devil. I watched a few lives of these protests today, and I found something in one of these protests that was actually scary. Now, these pictures are not the best because I tried to get screenshots from these as quick as I could, but this lady right here, and I have no idea what state this was in, but they pulled up this gate of hell and this devil lady came out of it. What this lady was portraying was her walking out of the middle of that sign right there. She literally opened the gates of hell and walked out onto that stage. And I don't know if you can see this one as well, but this guy right here came out right after her and he was also dressed like the devil. Of course, they had the guy running out with a chainsaw like Elon because they wanted to distract you from all of this. But the irony of them coming out of a sign that said gates of hell and then coming out and saying that Trump had opened the gates of hell is crazy. And not only that, but after they finished their speech, they had a whole devil squad come out and they did some kind of choreographed dance. And the proof is all over the place, okay? If you go into any conservative content creator's profile right now and look in their comment sections, look at the amount of hate and disgust that is being spewed from this party right now. Believe it or not, it is possible for you to disagree with someone and be upset that your candidate lost without having to tell people that they're ugly, that their entire family is ugly, that they deserve nothing in life. I hope you get everything you ask for, like kill yourself. Like, this is demonic stuff, y'all. And believe me, I am one of the ones, like 2 years ago, I would have said, okay, look, we don't have to put the devil in everything. The devil's not the cause of everything. And I still believe that. I still believe that some people do use the devil as an excuse to excuse their bad behavior, but this is like undeniable. This is putting the devil right in your face and wanting you to celebrate him. And you know how I know? Because they came out of the middle of those gates of hell and then tried to tell you that Trump is the one that opened the gates of hell. So if you are feeling called to walk away from this party right now, do it, okay? Walk away. Protect your peace and protect your soul. They have had people in the streets all day long screaming out 8647. If you are screaming out for the death of someone else and then claiming that you're not working for the devil, I can't help you. And I know that the right had their things to say about Joe Biden when he was president, but in my opinion, there is a very big difference between saying, let's go Brandon, and saying 86-47. I still am not going to call myself a Republican. Like, I am not interested in joining that party, but I will tell you right now, I will never, ever, ever call myself a Democrat. I do not claim that energy, and honestly, I want to be as far away from that as possible.
All right. I agree with most of what she said. You know, I think people are they're not really bold or trying to be bold or have courage when they say, I don't want to be a part of the Republican Party. Do you? What policies do you disagree with the Republican Party? Probably none of them. So, but outside of that, I do like what she had to say, because these people are devil worshipers. That's why they have the spirit of the enemy on them. That's why everything is contentious and violent. There was a trans person at the event. I was nothing but nice to everybody, had nothing to say. I told the person, I love you. I don't have nothing against you. I don't know you. I wouldn't even know you were trans until you said something. We don't have beef. We don't have a problem. And they started getting angry at me, yelling at me, cussing at me, like kind of approaching me. I'm like, bro, you still a man, bro. You're going to see birdies in a minute. But it's what they do. You look them in the eye and say, let's have a conversation. F you, you fascist, yeah, racist, stupid, with a mask on. I said, take your mask off. I can't hear you. You just sound like, take your mask off. Let's have a conversation. I don't have a problem with you. Why do you feel like you got to hate me? You don't have to hate me. You don't even know me. Then you hit them. See, that's why when you have God in you, it hit them. And they either do one or two things, or three things, or maybe all three. Sometimes when you hit them, they get quiet. Because some God been doing with them, and you hit the nail on the head, and they quiet. They go shut down. They in the corner thinking. Because they like, how this dude that I'm supposed to hate, that's evil, is saying something that's in my heart that only I know. How did they hit that part of me? Then you had the ones who instantly get upset, instantly get aggressive, instantly lose their mind. Everything is out the window. Like Savannah Craven, they just start punching you in the face because they just lost it all. And then you have the one that do whichever one, but then when they go home, they thinking about it. Dang, I never heard of this. I never heard of that. The dude thought that cops was killing 90,000 people a year. When he found out it was like maybe 4,000 people a year or less, I could see it change his mind. I said, if it was 90,000, I'd be mad too. I said, how many black people shot unarmed? It was like 21 black people. I said, you know how many black people live in America? Like 46 million. And the cops killed 21 people unarmed, which it doesn't mean they're not a threat. They just didn't have a gun on them at the time they were killed. Everything that he thought about police started to unravel in his mind. Let's get to the next story. Let's talk about the Boston mayor getting booed at the Red Sox game. Now, I want to play this clip just so you can see. If Donald Trump was at a Red Sox game, I guarantee he wouldn't get booed. People are waking up. These people are evil, and they know it. They see it. They experience. They get exposed. And these people can no longer go out in public and parade around like they're taking care of the people's business. Roll the clip. Now, why do you think that they're booing her? For those of you who don't know, Miss Wu, I think that's her name, Wu. It's probably her. It's W-U. So Miss Wu thing. So one of the things that people are upset about is her immigration policy controversies. The Trust Act reaffirmed. So Wu reaffirmed the Boston Trust Act in 2024, limiting police coordination with ICE on civil immigration detention. Now that we know what they've done, now we know how they're using our money, and then they go re-implement that. People are not stupid. Criticism for conservatives. Republican lawmaker slammed Wu for refusing to coordinate with ICE detainers involving violent undocumented immigrants. A high-profile example included a Salvadorian national charged with, you know what, of a woman without her consent, whom local officials refused to turn over to ICE. Funding backlog, a blowback. Wu spent over $650,000 in public funds preparing for immigration-related congressional testimony, drawing criticism for using city funds aimed raising costs and concerns from taxpayers. That's why they booing her. Undocumented immigrant population in Boston. As of the latest Pew Research estimate, Massachusetts have about 275,000 undocumented immigrants, illegal aliens. Boston metro area, the home to a significant portion, likely between 75 and 100,000. This is why people are upset. Boston ranks moderately on criminal index. With violent crimes such as homicide, robbery, and assault, the city has 58 murders in 2022, up from 44 in 2021. Boston crime rate is higher than the national average. It still remains safer than Chicago and Detroit, where black people live. I'm just throwing it out there. So if you go and look at Miss Wu-Tang, Michelle Wu is the first woman of color and Asian American elected the mayor of Boston since 2021. She's a Democrat, daughter of Taiwanese immigrants, and yet I guarantee they came here legally and she came here illegally. So that's why they booed her. We should keep booing these idiots because they're gonna take our country down a path of no return. All right, let's get to the next story. What clip was this? No, let's go back to the clips. I'm jumping stories too much. I want to play the clip of Nancy Mace talking about Ms. Wu-Tang. Roll it.
Mayor Wu, I have a last couple questions for you. Do you believe that ICE arresting a child rapist, quote, threatens everyone's safety, end quote?
Hold on. Y'all know I'm going to say something, right? You see she got them ashes on her forehead? This is the propaganda, in my opinion, of fake Catholics. People who hold those ashes over after they've done the Ash Wednesday thing or whatever it's called, and they hold it over and don't wipe it off their head. In my opinion, they're making a concerted effort to look virtuous by having ashes on their forehead. And the reason why I say that is because you got ashes on your forehead and you literally operate like the devil. How does that go together? Roll the clip.
Yes or no?
No.
Does ICE arresting a murderous MS-13 gang member threaten everyone's safety? Yes or no?
No.
I would like to hold up this quote of you where you say ICE's efforts actually threaten the safety of everyone, end quote, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu. You're a hypocrite. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
She a hypocrite for that ashes too. All right, give me the Byron Donald. I want to hear what Byron Donald's had to say. Roll the clip.
Mayor Wu, in the city of Boston, how much did you spend?
We don't ask about immigration status and delivering city
You don't
services,
ask
so
about
we
how
don't
much
have
money
that
the city of Boston has spent on illegal immigration?
We
Are
don't
you out of your
distinguish
mind?
between immigration status.
Do you
as
manage
part
your
of our
budget
city
or not,
policies.
Mayor Wu?
That is how we keep
Mayor
our city
Wu,
safe.
do you manage
we
your
have
budget
the
or not?
numbers to prove it. I manage my budget. I have a AAA bond rating dating back 10 years.
So to the city of Boston,
budget.
just understand that your mayor does not care how much of your resources she has spent on people who are not citizens
The city
of
of Boston
the city of
is
Boston.
sick of having
I'm
people
reclaiming my
outside
time.
Boston
Mr.
telling
Bear,
us what
Mr.
we
Bear, I
need.
have a question for you because I.
Yeah, she couldn't tell or disclose how much money they spent on illegal aliens. That's because she don't want you to know how much money they spent on illegal aliens. She knows, but she don't want you to know. Because if people knew how much money they were blowing of your tax dollars, you worked so hard you work so hard for, people be ticked off. All right, last one, clip 9. I think clip 9. It's Michelle Wu. Okay, go.
1 in 4 Boston residents were born somewhere else. Most have jobs. Many have kids. all of them chose this country as their home because,
legally,
like my mom and dad, they believe that here, where you've been, doesn't limit where you're going. The strength of your character has nothing to do with the color of your passport. And how hard you work matters more than where you were born.
Legal.
That wherever you're from, if you pitch in, look out for your neighbors, and cheer for the home team, you can build a better future here for the people you love. So to every one of my neighbors back in Boston, know
legal.
This. You belong here. This is your home. Boston es tu hogar. Boston, c'est la caillou. 这是你的家. This is our city. We are the safest major city in the nation because we are safe for everyone.
Legal.
Thank you.
58 murders don't sound that safe, but legal. You should know that they're being disingenuous when they refuse to differentiate between immigrants who come here for a better life and they go through the system and pay all that money and get over here and they celebrate because they're now citizens versus people who ran through a border somewhere and ended up hightailing themselves all the way up to Boston and that's living off resources and not contributing. You know they're crooked when they do not differentiate or delineate between the difference of an illegal person and a legal person. No one is against legal immigration. Well, at least none of our politicians that I know of are against legal immigration. Therefore, they wouldn't even have an argument whatsoever against Trump if they were fair and honest about what they're saying. But they're not. That's why they're going to hell, many of them. All right, let's get to the next one. Voodoo demon-possessed man on the airplane. Now, this was one of the craziest things I've seen. I fly all the time. Please don't do this on my airplane. My tolerance for stuff like this is 0. You will be physically assaulted by me if you're trying to kick down the front door of the cockpit and you're assaulting staff on an airplane while we 30,000 feet in the air. You're going to be asleep on that airplane. I have 0 tolerance at 30,000 feet. I don't care what drugs you were smoking. We're not finna crash this plane because you want to get high and fly. I have 0 tolerance. Please don't try me. I didn't prophesy it by going to that UC Davis place. Oh, nobody do this on the plane. I am not going to be the one sitting in the thing being like, oh my God, he's fighting people. He's naked. I don't know what happened. Don't worry. Don't worry. My cardio is good enough to handle business right in that little corridor. All right, let's play the clip of this fool. Roll the clip.
This Savannah flight bound for Miami hit turbulence just moments after takeoff, and we're not talking about the skies.
Myself and my friend were talking, we're like, we could have to take this guy down.
Started violently shaking and screaming moments after takeoff. Rosenberg says the crew and passengers initially thought Augustin was having a seizure.
He started stomping his feet violently, like heavily, and screaming. It was kind of a chant. He was talking about devils and possession and it was like, you have to kind of see it to believe it. Destroyed this other man's seat. Like he kicked it and punched it and just buckled the seat completely over. He just charged the front doors of the plane, like swinging wildly.
That's when Rosenberg, his friend, and another man took Augustin down. Rosenberg says Augustin swallowed rosary beads while on the ground and was gripping onto his sister during the takedown.
She had a bun in her hair and he grabbed a hold of her bun in her hair and he grabbed hold of her pants and wouldn't let her go. So they tased him once, twice, 3 times. He still didn't let go. At that point, they had to cut the woman's hair to make him let go.
Rosenberg says Augustin was arrested while his sister sang what sounded like hymns.
They were possessed. That was a very, very, very disturbing scene. I've seen a lot of stuff in my life. That was probably the most disturbing thing I've ever seen.
Now, to add on top of this, he was not charged. The same thing with that lady running around naked. Disorderly conduct, she assaulted people, damaged stuff, that's criminal damage, indecent exposure because she was naked, completely showing her JJ and a areola, which is the law. and there were kids on the plane. So not only was she indecently exposing herself to adults, she was indecently exposing herself to children. So how do you commit like 5 felony crimes? 5 felonies. And they don't arrest you. They don't charge you with nothing. And if you notice, these 2 people were black. They don't charge you with nothing. But then they claim if you get on there and you don't listen to the flight attendants, that could be a felony. If you don't listen to it, you just the fact of not obeying the flight attendants could be a felony. And they on there fighting people and biting them and doing all kind of stuff on the plane, making them having to divert. Which is an inherent danger in and of itself. Now, it looked like it wasn't a lot of people on that flight, so it probably didn't have that much fuel. And it wasn't that heavy, so they could probably go back and turn around. But you jump on a jumbo jet, one of those big commercial airliners, and you take off from the runway and they have to turn around and do an emergency landing, you could kill everybody on that plane. Because once they fly, especially if they go into Miami from Arizona, it's full of fuel. The runway isn't long enough. So they got to go and burn off the fuel. They have to do something because they can't come back and land. They got enough fuel to take them across the country, which is probably hundreds of pounds, probably thousands of pounds of fuel. And you don't get no charges? It's crazy. I think it's because he's black, to be honest. I think they got something where they don't want to get black people in trouble. I don't know, but I know you need to go straight to jail if you do something like that. All right, here's another deranged person, a Brooklyn man with a meat cleaver. Stabs 2 young girls in a crazy Chinatown assault. Roll the clip.
6:34 now. We want to get to that disturbing attack rocking a Brooklyn neighborhood. A man accused of stabbing 4 young girls, all members of his own family. Today in New York's Romney Smith is in Bensonhurst following it all. And Romney, some brave children here calling 911.
That's right. We have to emphasize that they are children that jumped into action. Pretty horrifying moments for the girl who called 911 for help. We know that she didn't know her address, but thankfully police were able to use technology to figure it out. I want to let everyone know first that all 4 girls who were stabbed are expected to be okay, but still, it was a pretty horrific event that shocked the community.
I was really shocked. Like, nothing like that ever happens here.
I saw it coming. The 2 kids first.
The violence unfolding Sunday morning when a 911 call for an 11-year-old girl who told the dispatcher that she and her sisters had been stabbed by her uncle. At the same time, a 5-year-old boy who was unharmed from the home ran to a neighbor's house for help. Police say after being led to the apartment by the 5-year-old boy, they had to force their way inside after hearing screaming. Police shouted orders for the attacker to drop his weapon, but he didn't and moved toward the officers, so both responding officers shot him. The attacker has been identified as 49-year-old Long Quinn Chin. Police say they believe that he slashed and stabbed his own 16-year-old daughter and then 3 nieces, ages 13, 11, and 8. First responders placed the children covered in blood into ambulances and rushed them to the hospital. Officials say it was a situation that required officers to act fast.
2 officers discharged their firearms, firing 7 total rounds between them and striking the subject, ending the threat.
After like a few minutes, I saw they were taking a guy out in the stretcher into the ambulance.
Now, these are the 2 knives believed to be used in the attack that were removed from the home. Officials say family members told them that Chin has a history of mental health issues. At this time, the motive for the attack is still under investigation. But again, all 4 girls involved are expected to make a full recovery, as is their attacker. We are live in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn this morning. Romney Smith, Today in New York. It's a good thing that all those girls will survive.
It certainly is. Romney, thank you so much for that live report.
Awesome, cool, thank you. I just wanted to throw that story out there. It was crazy that a man would do that to his own children. Obviously, he must have been high or crazy, and I'm glad the police responded and did what they had to do. Let's do the super chats, and we're going to get out of here. I got an interview. Make sure y'all check out the interview I did with Angela Scudin about psychedelics and how it has helped first responders recover and evade those dark thoughts of wanting to get rid of their own lives. But you may not agree with psychedelics. I don't know how you feel, but it's a good interview. It was really interesting to talk to her, and let me know in the comment section of the video if you want me to do more content like that. We have an interview with Certified Health Nut today. We'll put that out in a few weeks. Stevie Knight, we interviewed him about his brand new book. So I'm going through and trying to do more and more interviews to just create different types of content. I know there's some people that you guys want to hear me interview, some subjects that you want to talk about outside of this, and that's why I'm here to do it. Let me also tell you guys, if you want to go to the Talladega, have a Talladega experience, we've already had tons of companies want to jump on board. I mean, we've maxed out of our companies already. But it's a competition, so some companies may want it more than others. We can negotiate that, but we've literally maxed out of our companies probably like last week. But there's a few more spots for people, individuals who want to have the experience at Talladega. There's only 3 more spots left if you want to have an experience. That means you have dinner with me. We'll have the race, or you'll be able to watch the race with me in the pit. Then we'll watch the cup race the next day. You'll have a special jersey, a special T-shirt. It's going to be a great time. We'll put the link in the description section, or when you go to tatumstore.com to buy this shirt, you can check out the Talladega experience. There's 3 levels. $50 to get you a shirt, $200 to get your name on the car, plus a shirt, plus a signed photo for me and Caleb. And then the $5,000 is to get you the full weekend experience. That's to go to dinner, all you can eat and drink. I don't know about all you can drink. I don't want people drinking too much. I'll cover the first couple drinks, but all you can eat, drinks on me. Then the next day we'll go to the cup race. We'll go to the Talladega ARCA race. You'll be in the pit with me, with the crew, be able to watch the race from there. And then the next day we'll go to the cup race, and we're all sitting together. It's going to be about 20 of us or so. All of us are going to be sitting together at the same place, so we can go have fun, watch the race, enjoy it, and enjoy the rest of our weekend. So if you're interested, the link is in the description section. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hit these super chats, and then I'm going to get up out of here. Love y'all. Okay, let's go. Have a good day, bro. Really cool video. Thank you. Appreciate it. What is that? Solid Snake fan. Tarinus. He only says that to protect his family from Black Lives Matter. That could be true. Lee, what's up, brother? Imagine if we reversed the races. Here, Al Sharpton and Crump will be all over this, screaming racism. 1,000%. I think they're going to be all over it now, screaming racism. They're going to be screaming racism now. And the black kid was a suspect. In Australia, they took our guns, banned knives, now machetes. Soon we'll be eating with our hands. They're talking all over. Let's see. They're taking all our utensils. That's hilarious. Let's see. What is that? Yeni. Thank you so much for joining Tatum Force. Quantum protesting for their own destruction. You cannot make this crap up. 1,000%. It's crazy to me. Let's see. Carmel, thanks so much for the super chat. Love you, Officer Tatum. It's my first time watching live. I usually listen during work, and you crack me up. God bless you. I appreciate it, Carmel. Appreciate it. Let's see. Beef. Hey, B. Tatum. What denomination are you? And if you are a Protestant without a ecclesiastical authority, how do you settle disagreements of biblical interpretation with your own denomination? I don't like to get into religious stuff because people get upset. But let me just put it this way. I'm not a part of a denomination. I just listen to the Bible. I just read the Bible and the scriptures. And I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, which does not necessarily involve anybody other than me and Jesus. Now, I do believe in going to church and fellowshipping with the saints and stuff like that that are biblical, but I'm not a part of a denomination. And the reason why I'm not a part of the denomination is because 90% or 98% of the Christian denominations are false anyway. They're preaching and they're not 100% false, but they got a lot of falsehoods in the denomination. And what happens is people believe in a denomination more than they do the Bible. So if your denomination says this, they'll believe it even if it's not in the Bible. And that's why I don't really do the denomination thing. I grew up apostolic. Well, Baptist really. And then when I got in the church, when I was an adult, I was apostolic Pentecostal. And then now it's like, what's the point of putting denominational titles on stuff? It's really unnecessary to me. But that's just the way humans operate. They create religion out of relationship, and that's why it's failing. That's why Christianity isn't doing as good as it should do, because people are tribal and they're religious. It has nothing to do with Jesus. In many of these cases, many of these people don't even know who Jesus was. They don't even know what Jesus said. They have never read the Bible in all of these places where their pastor is talking about, and they go out in the streets and they grandstand. Christianity in America today is an embarrassment. And I'm not saying every church. The general theology of Christianity in America is an embarrassment. I'm saying that impartially. I used to be so heavy in the church that I couldn't see. I stepped back 30,000 feet and that's just an embarrassment. The divorce rates in the church are the same as in the world. That to me means there's no difference between the world and the church, generally speaking. Because the same people that's in the church is the same people in the world cutting up. They just go to church. They're not trying to be a part of the church. They just say they're Christian. They're not trying to be a Christian. And I'm not trying to get on people. We all struggle. I struggle. You struggle. We struggle. But Christianity, let's be real, it's an embarrassment. I would argue that if 50% of Christians are fake anyway. They support abortion and everything. Gay marriage, everything. You go to 50-50. You'll go to a Christian. You get some that say marriage is between a man and a woman, and you get some that say God loves everybody. He never cared anyway. You'll go to one, and they'll say, you know what, God ordains you to repent from your sins and turn to Jesus Christ. You have some that say you just confess your mouth and you can do whatever you want to do in life. You don't have to follow Jesus. No, you just confess that he's the. When the Bible clearly says that the devil knows who Jesus and they tremble. That don't mean you go to heaven because you acknowledge that Jesus exists. You must follow him. You must turn from your wicked ways and follow him. You can't follow him and follow wickedness at the same time because they are going in two different directions. You follow wickedness, he going first. Jesus is already moving on a journey. You either walking with him or you getting left behind. And when he gets to the promised land and you over here, you'll never hear this at half of the churches in America. They capitulate. They want to make you feel good because church is a business. It's not a temple. It's not a sanctuary for the Holy Spirit. It is literally a business. Not every church, most churches, because you got people out here that are unqualified, that do not have the Holy Spirit in them, teaching and preaching on Sunday morning. And anybody can preach. I could start a church today. I'm probably better off than most people if I started a church today. I'd probably be better than 80% of these churches teaching you falsehoods. But you can start a church today. You can make a little money. You ain't got to be rich like T.D. Jakes and them. You can make a little money. Tell people they got to give 10% of their check and give offering on top of 10% of their check. And you just live off all their money. Put a little money in the church, the rest of it go in your pocket. You had 25 members. That's not bad. You still can make a living off 25 members at your church. And then you do something else, work at Walmart and preach, get a little easy money on the side. I think that's what people are doing. It's a scam. It's a scam. And if you look behind, you peel back the veil of the modern church, you will see a scam organization. And I think most churches, not all, y'all church is good. The one down the street is the problem. You'll go look at the money they spend and you go, really? Y'all spending this kind of money and people on the front row right here don't even have nothing to eat? They out here praying to God for stuff you can give them. They go into the altar, Pastor, I'm struggling. No. Can you pray for me? The people at the church will pray for you instead of doing for you. How about when you get up there and you grandstand about giving a tithes and offering, which, my criticisms of giving tithe money. Won't y'all raise that money to help people in the church? Sister so-and-so need a car. Let's come together and get her a car. Give as God has purpose in your heart. If this ain't your chance, we got another opportunity. But right now, we're going to get Sister so-and-so a car. Some churches do that. But I would argue that most churches don't do that. God said give 10%. So what they do is, it's like multi-level marketing. You invite another person to give 10%. And then you invite another person to give 10%. The more people you invite, you bringing them to the Lord. No, you bringing more 10% opportunities. And then the 10% don't have a cap on it. So everybody give offering in 10%. You get a couple millionaires to go to your church. You winning. You winning. You get a couple millionaire billionaires to go to your church. You know how much tithe they paying? They giving millions of dollars at a time. They don't cap it. They don't say, we don't need a church bigger than this. We need to be able to sustain and substantiate how we support the people who are here. They don't do that because they get more and more money. They become bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the head pastor of the church won't even talk to you. You want prayer. He's supposed to be your shepherd. He don't even know you left the church. It's out of control. All right, I'm done. I'm done with my rant. Let's see. Mexican conservative from Stockton, California. Bro, slide back to Northern California again. Lord willing, stay strong. In my prayers always, bro. Appreciate it. I agree with you 100% about churches in America. The biggest problem is the alphabet soup mafia has infiltrated Christianity. Yeah, I mean, bro, people are afraid to even say they support Jesus. Like, it's crazy to me. I was on the radio and people were shocked. Man, I love how you talk about Jesus. What do you mean? I'm a Christian on a Christian radio station. You shocked? What do you mean you shocked? Isn't everybody talking about Jesus? Didn't Jesus impact everybody on this show? What do you mean you shocked? You shocked? I'm shocked that you shocked that a Christian is talking about Jesus on a Christian news network or a radio show, a radio station. I hear this all the time. Brandon, I'm shocked you talk about Jesus. What? What do you mean? Everybody not talking about Jesus? I look up to you. I'm Hispanic, tattoos on my face, but believe in what's right. I wish I could meet you one day. I support you. I work in drug addiction. Well, where you at? Where you live at? I may be in your city soon. Come holler at me. I ain't going to California. I'm going to Austin, Texas this week. I'll be in Austin, Texas this week. So if you live in Austin, Texas, follow me. I'll put it on my stories on Instagram where I'm going to be at. And you can come swing through, say what's up. All right, I love you guys. Thank y'all for watching the show. I'm out.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the